Hey, this is Joe over at Jam Sound Studio. I want to show you today how to get a perfect drum sound in I guess the rock metal genre. I guess I'll let you listen to the drums by themselves first. Let me turn off all these plugins. I already got a pretty good drum sound in this song, so I'm just gonna play the passage for you dry with no effects, no EQs, no compression, no nothing. So here's the drums raw. So pretty much, they sound like drums, which is good. So I did a good job in that department. The only problem, there's no enhancement. They sound kind of dry, and I have a small room to record in, so they're not very ambient. There's not a whole lot of reverb. Well, first off, how we fixed the attack of the drums. I use a little plugin on the kick and snare, for instance, called Drumagog, which is a hit replacement. And what I did was I took a sample of the bass drum when the drummer was over, and we recorded, I don't know, 8, 10, maybe 12 samples. In this track, I used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 samples. So I took 8 different hits. So every time the drummer attacks the kick or the snare, it triggers a sample that was already previously recorded. This way, there's no background noise. It's a nice, tight kick, and every kick is as intense as the next. So here's the before, and I'll turn it on so you can hear the after. Now, of course, you can adjust the sensitivity. You can also adjust the mix. You have control over that entire drum track. I like to keep it, mixed well so you can hear the real kick, but at the same time you get the attack of the hit replacement. So what we do the same thing for the snare. Let me pull up the snare one. Now we got a little bit of ring in the recorded version, but it does blend nicely with the hit replacement. So I can keep that blended at 60%. I can make it less or more. Where it's at is fine for now. But next we will EQ the kick drum, and you can hear what that sounds like before and after. Now that just sounds powerful and thick, and it's awesome. So basically, I just dipped everything at 350 hertz. That's where that box-like sound comes from. So I dipped there. I boosted around 60 hertz, and I also boosted around 8,000 kilohertz to get that attack. And then we'll do the same thing. We'll EQ the snare. And then we'll turn on the compression. And that gives us a nice tight snare and kick. Now for the rest of the drums, as far as the kick, I have 2 kicks and I have 2 snares. So now this is my outer kick drum, and this is my snare underneath the snare itself. And you can hear what those sound like dry. And what we'll do is we'll EQ again, basically in the same fashion, dipping that boxy sound out of the kick drum and adding compression, and then compressing the snares underneath the snare. And now when we mix in our original drums, the inside kick and the top snare, we'll get a nice, well-rounded, natural sound out of the drum, even though it's mixed with that hit replacement. So next, we'll do our overheads. We pan one hard left, pan the other hard right. And as far as overheads, I like to roll off around 625. I don't know, between 500 and 600 hertz. So it makes room for the higher frequencies where the crash cymbals and the ride cymbals will exist. So I'll show you the compression for them. I usually compress, have like a 20 millisecond attack with a 20 millisecond release, and 6-to-1 ratio with a pretty soft knee. So next will be the room mic, which is an omnidirectional mic. It picks up everything in the room, and you can hear what that sounds like raw. Now, to mix that in, again, we're going to dip that around that 350 hertz range because that boxy sound exists, so we want to get rid of that. And then with the room, we'll compress the hell out of that, so we'll have a pretty hard threshold with a soft knee, and bring that attack down around 20, and release pretty fairly quick release around 20. Same as the overheads. And of course, you can adjust these to your liking. So we're getting closer to our finished product. As far as the hi-hat goes, I like to roll off most of what exists in the hi-hat area. Now, there's no hi-hat during this segment, but basically, if you cut everything out below like 7,000, 8,000 kilohertz, really you just want that high frequency of the hi-hat just to cut through in the mix. Everything else below that area isn't even important in the mix because it's being picked up by the overheads. So you can experiment again with that on your own, but that's what I usually do. I cut out everything below that frequency range, and then we'll mix in the toms. I'll play the toms by themselves for now, so you can hear what they sound like. Now, the way we get rid of all that background noise is adding a gate to each track. Now you'll hear how much of the background noise actually got cut out of the mix. Next, we'll EQ our toms and compress our toms much in the same fashion as the kick. Dipping it at 350. You can also boost in the highs and lows to enhance them. And we'll just boost a little bit in the bottom end on the floor tom, and boost a little bit in the highs to add that attack. So there's our drums, and let's hear them all together. Alright, so next, what I do is I bus all of my drums. So this is bus 1 and 2 into auxiliary 1 and 2. So every drum is bussed to auxiliary 1 and 2. And then I have my main drums, the kicks, the snares, and the toms bussed to a second auxiliary track, and I call that my attack track. So I have complete control over the amount of attack that goes into every drum. So you can hear with the attack off, and then I'll turn it on halfway through. So it just adds a little bit more of an enhancement. I don't know if you can hear it. It does add a lot of enhancement. It just cuts through the mix a lot better with the other instruments. And then the last piece of the puzzle is the reverb. Now, because I record in a small room, I really don't have a lot of reverb to mess with. So of course I have to add reverb in a plugin format, and I generally use an impulse response reverb, which is reverb taken from real places. So it sounds basically as natural as possible. So here it is with the reverb on. Now you'll hear a huge difference. And that just really enhanced everything. Makes everything sound so much more natural. And then you can also add extra reverbs. I added another reverb just on the snare itself. So I bussed right here. I made a bus 7 and 8 into auxiliary 7 and 8, and I added a secondary room reverb. And you can do this for toms, snares, kicks, whatever you want. But just for an example, here it is just on the snare. So there you have it. There's how you get the perfect drum mix using EQ, compression, and auxiliary tracks to enhance your drum mixes. So good luck, and thanks for watching.